Now I'm hitting record. So this is your Thursday training. And for those of you who are new to the Step It Up group, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Every week at 10 o'clock, you have an opportunity you can join me, or you can wait for the replay, or you can wait until it's in your Kate Walker Training profile and watch it later. Totally up to you, but this is a part of your membership. So today, I'm going to talk about social media, digital marketing. Next week, I'm going to talk about creating a content calendar. The week after that, I'm going to talk about what to do if a client starts following you on social media. February 22nd, we have a free webinar with Craig Alsup, who's going to talk about all things digital. And remember, this training is not for a CE, so just you can join and leave your camera off, your microphone off. And yes, it's being recorded, and yes, it's going to be on the Facebook page. So what I do is at the end of this training, I'll stop record and I will answer your questions. But again, you can leave your camera off and be as incognito as you want to be. All right, so we got somebody joining us. All right, oh, I better put my earphones in then. Hey, Nakia, so glad you're here. Hold on, I don't have my earbuds in yet. They're getting there. Here we are. All right. So let's talk about social media marketing. And I am going to use screen shares today. So let me move this around. I think I talked to you guys a lot, or at least you may have heard me talk about that. You know, I hear a lot of practice owners, they talk about, because I'll ask them, okay, what's your goal for your practice? What do you really need to do? And they'll say, oh my gosh, I really need to get somebody to do my social media. And I ask why, and they'll say, well, it's part of my marketing strategy. And I'll say, why? And they'll say, well, it's how I get clients. I'll be like, how do you know? It's almost like, if you're working in your practice and I say, okay, what's your goal? And you'll say something like, I really need somebody to move that pile of dirt from over there to over there, and then move it back to over here. And I'll say, why? And you'll say, well, the dirt has to be moved. It just can't stay there. And I'll say, why? So you see where I'm getting. Unless you have a goal, and a goal is something, think back in the day when they had those like telethons on TV, or when people do fundraisers, it's like got that arrow and it'll be like, okay, we have $10,000 we want, and we've gotten $500 so far. And every time they post a picture, you'll see that needle has gone up a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. That's a goal. And as a watcher or a potential donator, you're looking at that going, awesome, yay, we're getting closer to our goal. It's exciting. You're looking at how, there are people over there answering phones and they look busy. So you have all of these indicators that tell you, the viewer, the watcher, that something's happening to get you closer to that goal, right? And the goal is usually in red and it's in big letters and it's talked about. This is our goal. You know what our goal is, don't you? Well, our hope is for this year. I mean, you guys have probably even done it on Facebook. You have done some kind of a fundraiser and it'll say like, Jane's goal is to raise $2,000 toward, Save the Pigeons or something like that. So when you think about why you're doing social media, it is to bump that arrow toward a thing. And so many of us don't really know how to define that thing. I mean, you can listen to me talk about SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, trackable goals all day long. But it's still hard to talk about that thing. And I think, well, I've got my own theories about that, but I am going to give you 3 things you can measure that will show you if your social media is actually working. And there are things you can really do today. I mean, I don't want to blow any smoke. This is real stuff. You can do this today to move your practice forward. Most of the time, and I'm going to warn you, most of the time when I talk about these goals, though, it feels limiting, right? Because a goal is always going to narrow your focus from here to here. And so I want to validate that feeling while I also kind of take my spoon and stir the pot and get it really agitated, right? I'm going to do it on purpose. So let's get started with our first goal: specific, measurable, attractive. That's not what I want. Attainable, realistic goal. And, I don't even care about the A and the R. I don't care if it's attainable. I don't care if it's realistic. I just want you to have a goal you can count. So forget it. I'm not going to tell you one. I'm going to tell you all three. So here are the goals I recommend. Here are the ones I'm giving you today. You can do whatever you want. Engagement, make a purchase, build your email list. Actually, I misspoke. The first one isn't engagement. The first one is building your brand, making a purchase, building your email list. So let's start with building your brand. This is probably the easiest one because we're already kind of used to popularity contests, right? Like in junior high, if you ran for, your class treasurer or something, you knew whether you won or you lost or however that looked. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get on Instagram, my Instagram. And if it'll let me, because I don't think, oh yeah, there I am. Okay. I started following this person called Voice of Gen X. She's hilarious. All right, let's see. All right, so let me share. So when I talk about engagement or insights, and this may be new to some people, so be patient, those of you who are really, really good at this. Here's a look at my back office on my Instagram. So if I hover, you just see really simply, here I get 13 likes or engagements or hearts. I have 2 comments, and I'm going to warn you, when I have a picture of my son, they always go up. So 20 hearts, 1 engagement, 28 hearts, 5 comments, 26, 20. Now, what I want people to engage with, watch this, 5, 9, 6. Now with Dawn Brunkenhofer, I think I probably got some of her audience. So that was good. I got 17. So this is one way to measure engagement. I can tell myself, or my marketing strategist over here, there isn't anybody there, but I can say, okay, here's what we know. Pictures with my son get the most engagement. So we have to do more pictures of my son. All right, that would be easy, but let's see if we click. I can also view insights here. We can drill down a little deeper. Now we can actually see the number of accounts reached from home, from profile, and Instagram changes all the time. I'm going to be honest, I'm not really sure the difference between home and profile is, but you'll see now we have another number, and I have this connected to my Facebook page. So I think what part of that is how many of the interactions come organically from Instagram and how many come organically from my Facebook page. Now I'm going to take you down to a post that I did, let's say last year. And I started getting into Reels. I'm not real good at it yet, but Reels get a lot of interaction. So, oh, here, I could just click that, right? No, because that may, yeah. So back. Okay, so here's a reel that I did with my friend when we were hiking in Big Bend. And okay, it must be because I'm doing a screen share. The insights for this, we had about, last look, 2,000 interactions. So here's the rub, though. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. I'm pretty sure anyway, I don't think that is leading to positioning me as an expert, increasing my sales, or building my email list. Now, how do I know that? Well, I have some KPIs that I measure. We call those key performance indicators. And what you can do is you can start to correlate data. Now, that's not, I promise this isn't complicated. What you do is you look at what you post based on the number of KPIs, key performance indicators. So I'm going to say like a key performance indicator might be a click on a landing page that you have. It might be, for those of you who are trying to get rings on your phone, right? It's going to be a phone call to your office. I've talked about at my practice, I do a 10-minute consultation. It might be the number of 10-minute consultations goes way up. Now, you won't get much data one day at a time. So what I recommend is that you do this over a week or even a month, and you're going to start to see trends. Right? So yes, I could absolutely post more pictures of me dancing on the Rio Grande or hugging my son and get lots and lots of engagement. But when I compare that to the number of course sales that I get, or the number of people who sign up for my webinars, or the number of people who click on a landing page, because I can count those, zero correlation, like nothing. Like there is like, it's like these people are over here. I don't even think they know that I have a business over here, right? So I can look at all that as a popularity contest, right? Like back in junior high, and think, oh, that's so cool. I'm getting followers, but those followers are doing nothing for me, right? I love them because most of them are my family and my friends. So I do love them. But as a strategy for my business, for me, the jury is still out on Instagram. I'm not sure if that's really even worth my time to dig into. So what I've done is I have lots of different things. I have a podcast, I have blogs, I have, of course, my Facebook group, I have my Facebook page. So I have lots of different ways to gather data and hold it up against that all-important KPI, which for me, as a course salesperson, and that's what I'm talking to you as right now, it's easy. I compare this to the number of clicks on tickets, purchases, etc. All right. So goal number one, positioning yourself as an expert in the community as a counselor. An easy KPI for you is phone calls. Right? I encourage you to do 10-minute consultation, but I get it. A lot of you still want to do phone calls. How many voicemails did you get last week? How many emails did you get last week? So when you went, and I'm going to give you a non-digital example, if you went to the Chamber of Commerce and you gave a talk, right? You did that on January 1st, and then January 15th, you went to the local elementary school and did a talk. What gave you the most phone calls? Was it the Chamber of Commerce? Was it the PTO? Now, you don't want to book any more chamber gigs if you didn't get any phone calls, right? You look and you're like, oh my gosh, I got 10 phone calls within 2 weeks of that speaking gig. You want to do more of that. It's the same thing with digital marketing. It's just a little bit harder to dig in and find those insights. Now, if you come to Craig Alsop, the February 22nd at 5:00. You can interact with him. You can ask him questions. You're a Step It Up member, so you're going to get the replay as well. So don't worry if you can't make the webinar. You'll absolutely get that in your profile, but he can help you understand how to go into Google and do Google My Business, Google Search Console, use keyword search software to really find out what people are searching for. Because once you find out what they're searching for, then you can create your content around that. Then you can do a whole month in an editorial calendar. So you don't feel like, oh my gosh, what am I going to write about today? Well, today's February. I already know that this topic correlates to certain actions on my website. So I already know what I'm going to do for the next 4 weeks. I'm thinking about March. So positioning yourself as an expert is also called building your brand, leads to the KPI of more sales, more phone calls, opt-ins, whatever you have going on to capture those leads. All right, so I'm moving on to number 2. Here I go. All right, so number 2 is the easy one. Number 2 is more sales. Now, if you have an Etsy store, you're selling printables, you're selling t-shirts, maybe you're like me and you're selling courses, or you're a counselor and you're selling appointments, right? Because that is a sale. It's easy to now correlate your efforts on social media with the number of sales. What's often missing, though, is your CTA or call to action, right? So if you've ever seen anything that I do, you know that it says, do a thing, right? So let me screen share. I'm screen share challenge today. All right, so we are going to get off this and we're going to my website. And we're going to go to the 40-hour course. And you go to something, this is called a landing page. So you'll see I'm basically being super bossy, aren't I? Check out the course. I'm ready to grab the course. I'm ready to grab the course. I'm ready to grab the course. So click. Buy now. So we're constantly telling people what to do when our KPI is cost, so dollar signs, or something else that you're doing, like I'm doing the webinars, so I want to see those ticket sales, right? They're free tickets, but I want to see click, right? I'm telling people, grab your ticket, grab your purchase, grab your course, do the thing. If you get an email from me, I'm going to always say, check out the resource, click the button. So with our second goal, which is, I'm calling it purchasing, because maybe it's not purchasing, maybe it's like what I do, and I offer a free ticket to a webinar. You're going to have a call to action. You're going to tell your person, do a thing. Now, go back to number 1. When your goal was brand building and expert positioning, you're still going to tell people what to do. Like this post, share this post with a friend. If you loved it, comment below. Tell me 3 things you love about going hiking in Big Bend National Park, right? You're giving people something to do so that engagement builds. And then you're correlating it with, did they actually go to my website and interact with the thing I wanted them to interact with? All right. So number 3 is pretty easy. I'm going to keep moving, and let me just double check in the group real quick just to see if we have any questions. Okay, no questions. All right, I'm going to keep moving. So when we have the third thing, okay, so I'm going to move to the third thing. The third thing is the thing people hate, I think, the most. It's building your email list. And that's because we all hate our own email. And so we're projecting this hate onto our businesses, and you must stop that, right? So yes, we all hate full inboxes, but your full inbox as a business owner is full of maybe qualified people who want to buy your stuff, or not your inbox. I'm sorry, your email list is full of people who have shown an interest. Now you want to honor that. That is like sacred. Somebody has given you their email. That's wonderful. So if you're going to collect emails, don't sit on your email list and just ignore them, right? And I've done it. I'm talking to the mirror right now. I've had a huge email list, and I was like, I don't know what to do with these emails. I don't have anything to send them. Or I'd send them like garbage newsletters, and they were super long and wordy. And I was writing things that I was interested in. It had nothing to do with why they joined my list. So I'm sure they were all super confused. So I would have, tons of unsubscribes. And, the idea behind email is you have to give something to get something. And email works really, really well if you sell big ticket items or items that you're only going to offer once in a while. So if you have intensive couple retreats, or you're going to offer retreats to other therapists, or you're going to certify people in EMDR, and you're going to charge a lot of money, Well, getting people on an email list allows you to really nurture them, to really make sure they understand what they're getting so they can get to know you. They can build that emotional connection, and then they can click buy when you open that up. So if your intensive is going to be in July, another J word, right? January, July. So if you're going to open your intensive in July and you want to start that email list now, you would have an opt-in, something on your website that says, hey, are you interested in the couple intensive? Click here. Now that might be enough. You might get someone who's really, really interested. Click, they'll give you their email, and you're good to go. But what if this person doesn't know they want a couple intensive yet? But you want to make sure you capture the leads of lots and lots of couples. Well, you could offer them something in exchange for their email. So on your website, you could have a list that said something like, get the list, 5 rules for couples to fight fair when you give us your email. Well, now you're going to get someone who's maybe not thinking about a retreat, but they're definitely thinking about ways to fight fair. And if you have done your ideal client exercise, you know that's a pretty qualifying client right there. So if you get them on your email list, they may be very interested in a couple retreat. And if they're not, that's okay. They can unsubscribe once they get the resource. It's okay, right? Because we really want this to be a match made in heaven. We don't want this to be something we're like, why are you leaving? Why are you unsubscribing? What's wrong with you, right? I know people know what they want. And if they're interested, they'll get back on your list, or they'll tell a friend, hey, I got this great resource. But then she started sending me emails about couple retreats, and their friend might be going, ooh, I've been looking for that. So treating your email subscriber list with respect, giving them quality, interesting things that they signed up for, or at least in that same genre or that same vein, is key. Like, you have to do that. I'll tell you, one of the courses that I sold in 2022 was a quick HIPAA training, and it was not for licensed professionals. And so I put that out there. I got a lot of people through the Children's Advocacy Centers of Texas who took this course. It was wonderful. And I kept looking at my emails going, why do I have like 10 people unsubscribing every time I send out an email? Well, it finally dawned on me, I've got all these non-counselors on my counselor email list. So when I send them information about, a webinar about, how to do a 3-point wrap up with a client, they're like, I don't care, unsubscribe. So I started to get my feelings hurt. And then I realized, when I looked at the people who were unsubscribing, oh, these are the non-licensed folks who took the course through the CAC centers. They don't care about my counseling stuff. So what is my KPI? When you have an email opt-in, your KPI is going to literally be the number of emails. So let me show you that. So we're back on my website. And so I have a couple of things here. Looking for a step-by-step guide to get you started, download. Here's the incentive. Oh, I guess I should click share, huh? There we go. Says my screen share is loading. There we go. So looking for a step-by-step guide to get you started, that's my incentive. So I'm going to say, grab the free guide. That's my bossy call to action. They click. I say, get the guide. I don't say, give me your email yet. I say, get the guide. They give me their email. Then I say, again, bossy, send me the guide. And if I check my email right now, there's going to be a guide. So now I've gotten someone on my email list who is interested in practice, private practice, so I can send them emails that are interesting to them about practice. That is my KPI. I keep a running count of the number of emails that I collect, and I compare it to what I've been doing on social media, what I've been doing on blogs, what I've been doing to coordinate all those efforts. And remember how I do that, right? With an editorial calendar. I keep a calendar of topics. And then when I send my emails, what the data is for each email, how many opens I got, how many clicks I got. And I look back at the social media marketing. If something's a dud, I pull it out of the rotation or I rework it. If something is wonderful, I rework it into 5 different things because I know that's what you want. I know that's what people are asking for. So let's review. When we're talking about social media or digital marketing, you have to start with your why. Why are you? I know you guys hate it when I say that, but it has to start with your why. So we have a broad why. That's your goal, right? You're positioning yourself as an expert. You are selling stuff in a store. You want more purchases, more dollar signs, or you want to sell more appointments, or you're building an email list. You want more emails. Okay. And so your KPIs, your key performance indicators, like how you can judge if this social media stuff is actually working, is you're going to compare engagement. So number 1, you're going to compare engagement with maybe the number of phone calls you get. For the second one, it's pretty easy. You're going to compare your social media topics, your posts, with how many sales did you get? Or if you're a counselor, how many phone calls did you get? For building your email list, you're going to compare what you're putting out there with how many people signed up on your email list. And then you're going to look and see who unsubscribes the first time you send out something related to the topic that they actually signed up for. All right, I'm going to close it here. This is Dr. Kate Walker with your Step It Up training. I'm not going to close it. I'm just going to turn off the recording. And so if you have questions, feel free to unmute. You don't have to turn your camera on if you don't want, but I'm going to keep it stream sharing just in case you ask something that everybody else would love to hear. So thanks for watching. This replay will go into your Kate Walker training profile probably by next week. So thanks for watching, and I'm going to stop the recording.